The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers, commentators, experts, and/or host. They do not explicitly or necessarily reflect nor represent the channel's policy or the views held by the channel or broadcaster. The broadcaster or its channel cannot be held accountable for all or any views expressed during this program.
Been doing all that talking and not paying attention, and everybody saying they couldn't hear me. Please forgive me. I've been talking for 10 minutes. Y'all just been seeing my mouth moving. I wasn't paying attention to anything. But let me just say this. This is the day that the Lord has made. Thank God for technology. Thank y'all for coming on and saying, we can't hear you, Bishop. We can't hear you. My apologies. I normally mute it while we're moving around before we start. So let me start back over by just saying, God bless you all this morning. To God be the glory. We thank you all for joining us, and to the Faith and Tea family, Pastor Thomas over in Kenya and to Pastor Fred over in Kenya. Yes, to Pastor Anna Lyons. I had just said, Pastor Anna Lyons, I saw you down in Florida this last weekend. So to God be the glory. Uh, uh, um, let me see. Who else? Did I forget anybody else? I don't see my Dane on there right now, but as we always know, Mother Margaret Feast has got to be somewhere around if Elder Feast is on. So God bless you all. Do me a favor. Uh, do me a favor and let's evangelize this morning. Let's tag somebody. Let them know that Faith and Tea is on, and that we this is Wisdom Wednesday, where Brother G will be joining us. God bless you, my brother Charlie. God bless you. Uh, um, G will be joining us shortly. As I said, when y'all couldn't hear me, I was saying how it started out on Wednesday because he was off on Wednesday, and so that's how we used Wednesday as his day. But then what ended up happening was his schedule changed, but it didn't stop us from still continuing to give him that day. And he comes on and drops a few nuggets here and there. And we appreciate that gap. The part of it was us trying to bridge the gap between us seniors and our young folks, because there is a gap. Anybody that thinks that is not in tune to what's going on, and especially when it comes to life as a whole, we try to help usher them, and at the same time, they're helping us tremendously. I mean, uh, for some of us seniors on here, which right now it looks like most of us are seniors on here, or advanced or mature in age, as we might want to say. Um, we didn't grow up in a social media era. Um, if most of us, I can remember when I was coming up, the phone you couldn't even unplug the phone. It was uh, tied into your line at the house, and and so we had house phones. Now, if you have a house phone, for the average child, they look at you like, "What is that?" And then so we thank God that times have changed, and a lot of times where we fall short is we don't want to adjust to times. I know I'm talking to somebody this morning, but life has a tendency, um, and he's getting ready to pop in. Life has a tendency to adjust, whether you like it or not. And if you don't adjust, you'll find yourself missing out on what's going on in life. So I've got him getting ready to pop in. Let me unmute him because I was muted when I came on. But good morning to you, Brother G. God bless you, sir. Uh,
How you
how,
doing?
how are you doing this fine Wednesday morning?
I'm doing on the way to work.
So we'll say it's another day, another nickel, another dime, quarter, whatever one is making. But we thank God, as we always say, for the rising of the sun. We thank God that it wasn't um, a fire alarm or the police knocking on our door to wake us up this morning, but it was because of his grace and mercy. And like anything in life, life continues to go on, life continues to happen. Here we are already 9 days into the fourth month of the year. And it just seems like yesterday that we were talking about um, uh, uh, good. We was talking about Charlie was talking about his birthday, and I was talking about mine. And here we are now, 4 months into the year. And as I always share with everybody, time waits on nobody. We have come to that conclusion. And so the day is a day that we set aside to try to bridge the gap, to see what's going on, to talk about, you know, to be well rounded, to be balanced. A lot of times, Brother G brings in perspectives of life from the sports world because that's what he's really familiar with, and he's excellent in it. One day, I would really love to see him create a podcast, but to God be the glory. But go ahead, G, what you got for us?
Yeah, so I was just thinking, I was thinking about how I wish we could see how our, I wish we could see how what we do, what would it, how is it affected, if that makes sense. I wish that we could see when we do something, when we act out something. Every cause has an effect. I wish we could see what that effect could be of what we're causing, because I they say that it takes a split second to change your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I wish that we could actually see what changes in our life when that happens,
Mm-hmm.
because I think sometimes we get so comfortable with life and
Mm.
waking up in the morning and being able to walk around freely and being able to eat when I want, sleep when I want, and
Mm-hmm.
having that freedom, that freedom movement option to be able to move and act how I want, do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we take that for granted without even knowing, like that's just what's supposed to be. Like that's
Right. Right.
supposed to
Right.
happen. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we always talk about how um, somebody went to sleep last night with aspirations to wake up this morning and didn't.
Right. Right.
Somebody went to bed last night knowing they left from their wrong and woke up and they couldn't tell.
Mm-hmm.
We always
Mm-hmm.
talk about it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we don't really ever, think about it though. We don't really ever
Mm-hmm.
think about how, you know, our life could drastically change in seconds of something
Mm-hmm.
that we did, something that we do, a situation that we've been put into or we put ourselves into.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I feel like if we could see what this 2 3 seconds, 2 3 minutes would
That's good.
result,
Yeah.
I think a lot of times our perspective on the entirety of the situation would change a lot of times. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like when you get so comfortable with not even a person or a friend or anybody, but when you just get so comfortable with life,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to live a comfortable life, but you never want to be comfortable. Um, you know, I feel like we should always operate in an uncomfortable. You should be comfortable being uncomfortable,
Oh wow.
and
That's
I
good.
feel like I feel like that's how we should operate life. But yeah, just thinking, I was like, I just wish we could see what is the results of what I just did. How does this affect me? Not just, in the micro, but in the macro. How does this affect me in a
Mm-hmm.
year? How would this,
Mm-hmm.
how does this affect me? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
since you
Wh-
always like to throw out, I use basketball sports analogies, and you the main reason why I even bring up sports. I could care less to talk about sports, but since you want to use sports analogies, the perfect example is like somebody like Draymond Green, who played for the Warriors, and everybody know who Draymond Green is. Man,
Yeah.
if you don't know, look him up. I'm not about to keep explaining these players, but Draymond Green, because of his actions early on in his playing career,
Mm-hmm.
he's at a place now where when some certain things come up, he no longer gets the benefit of the doubt.
Right. Right.
He now is getting, he's getting kicked out and getting assessed things that maybe another person would not have
Right.
had they done it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like just that overall thinking in my head of, I wish we could, because we don't think about that, and
Right.
we act
Right.
like we do, and we say we do, and we
Mm-hmm.
talk a good game, but every day shows us, because
Yeah.
you will be lying to yourself, we'll be lying to each other if we really want to say that the 15-year-old that just got charged with capital murder,
Right.
and he was crying in the police interrogation room, that now got to serve 35 years. We'll be lying to ourselves to say that, oh, those 2 minutes was
Yeah.
worth what he
Yeah.
about to do with for the next
Yeah.
35 years.
Yeah. 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 But
The sad part is about, and I'll let you go after that.
uh,
But the sad part is when are we going to actually see that for what it is? And I could get a little bit deeper, but I didn't get deeper, and I didn't really try to, because I wanted to, see if I could find like biblical reason. And I know God gives us our own, He gives us our own authority to make decisions or whatnot. So I know that so I don't need to hear that God is gonna give us the, decisions, the option to make whatever decisions we decide to do. But what why haven't, and I guess that just is as simple as is that that's what it is. But why, it just seems like that that mental thought process has yet to be resignated. And even with me saying it, I can say this right now and then go out and do something literally 20, 30 minutes from now that is basically explaining what we're talking about.
yeah.
So it's that, just that mental thought process of thinking that, like, I don't know what it is. Is it the comfortability, or what, what is it that we really, we get to this mental space of thinking that, yeah,
Well,
stuff is
I
just guaranteed.
I think a lot of times if we kind of like look back over a person's life, and you and I've had this discussion plenty of times. Um, so early in life, uh, were they ever challenged, or was issues addressed? Sometimes, if you really look at it, they got away with things that had they been corrected back then. And going back to the Draymond situation, where you and I've had discussions on that before. Um, the first time he stepped out of line, had he been properly reprimanded or addressed, then we wouldn't be looking 12, 13, whatever, how many years he's been in the league now, trying to figure out why he hasn't matured or whatever. Because I'm just convinced that a lot of maturity is based off of correction. It's not so much that because you get older, you become mature, but you become mature in living life and knowing how to be around people and how to socialize and how to be in relationships and friendships and partnerships and all that from um, being around people that going to hold you accountable. You're using the word comfortable, but if I allow you to be comfortable around me, but I don't agree with what you're doing, then is it your fault? Is it more your fault than my fault? I think a lot of times because we don't address stuff, it's almost when we could use the analogy of the police. If you know the police isn't out there um, checking for speeding, would you really just go the speed limit? So some of it is based off our character and the ethics that we have in life. But going back to what you're saying, if we could see if right before you, because here you go, even when it comes to committing certain crimes, you have what they call premeditated, meaning that you thought about it before you did it. You know what I'm saying? You could have figured it
Yeah,
out. Yeah, go ahead.
but yeah, and like I said, I was thinking about this, and it was in reference because of That So Raven. And for anybody who don't, remember the Disney show That So Raven,
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
Raven Simone. Raven was a teenage girl that was in high school, but she suffered through premonitions, and what a premonitions is the forecoming of events forecoming to come. You know, it's
Uh-huh.
the forecoming of events to come, and she would have premonitions of either good, bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It would vary, but she would have premonitions, and but with her having that premonitions, she would not keep the same mentality, the same pace as she
Mm-hmm.
did with the overall situation beforehand. Why? Because she could actually see what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
What did this cause affect me or affect this situation? So a lot of times you would see the premonition, she would change the premonition, effectively, in real time, because she could. And so
Mm-hmm.
basically what I'm saying is, if if we could just, have those premonitions, right beforehand, like you say, how many of our young black, adults could still be, living a regular life and not being incarcerated? How many, young women and children could still be, living a normal situation? How many regular folk could just still be living a regular life and situation where, because I say, and I'll just give it back to you, but the saying goes, it takes 3 seconds to change your life,
Yeah.
and one, two, three. That ain't even half my day yet. That
No way
that
there.
that
Right.
that ain't even a quarter of my day.
Mm-hmm.
And just imagine that little bit of time that I just counted the three could change my whole dynamic of how I, live life.
Well, but see the thing, and I agree with what you're saying, and I hear exactly what you're saying, and I don't my personal and that's why we put the disclaimer on here so that we can really talk from our own experiences or our own thought pattern. It does not have to be um I mean, we try to use facts and stuff like that, but every once in a while you have to use your opinion and think about stuff. And I just truly believe that we all do have a certain level of what you're talking about, because before you do it, you basically first of all, it has to run through your mind. So like I'm always conscious of how I handle my anger issues, and the reason being is because I really only have a certain, I'm more nicer than I am mean, if you follow what I'm saying. Whereas some people are the opposite of that. Some people just wake up angry at the world, mad at the world. And if somebody say something to me today, I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. And going back to what I was saying, probably if you trace back in their family tree, whether them or someone in their family, that issue was in their family. If you want to add some Bible to it, uh, Moses had an anger issue, and that's what caused Moses to do some things that he did. Moses killed somebody and had to flee the country. Moses broke the tabernacle. I mean the tablets with the Ten Commandments on it because he had an anger issue. And so when we look at life as a whole, sometimes we have to take accountability for ourselves, where all the time really we have to take accountability for ourselves and understand that whatever we do in life, those individuals that sit in prison, and we know, to be honest, that there have been some that have been wrongly accused, were in the wrong place at the wrong time or whatever, but the vast majority of individuals, uh, a lot of that they bought on themselves by either being in the wrong place, the wrong time, or whatever, hanging with the wrong people. And so going back to what you're saying, it is important that before we do something, I'll pass it right back to you. But I always would say to you, I remember when you were in high school, and we were trying to get you scholarships and get you ready for college and everything. The reason, one of the reasons I got on social media was really to monitor you. Why? Because I knew as a dad, part of my responsibility was still to continue to groom you. And where you might have saw something one way, and that's the great thing about this platform that you and I have every
Yeah,
Wednesday
tell him I
is
didn't
it
like it. Tell him I
yeah,
didn't like you. I didn't like it, and
yeah,
we
yeah,
definitely wasn't getting along in that time for period too. So
yeah, yeah.
let's reference that too.
Yeah, yeah. And there will be times that you would put a tweet out and I would respond and say, "Hey, get that off of it." It wasn't, and I would say it this way, and I'll give it right back to you. It wasn't so much that what you were saying was inaccurate or whatever, but words have power. And what we've done in this country is we've determined what resonates as okay and not okay. You follow what I'm saying? In other words, we're dealing right now with a administration that basically is trying to wipe out blackness. And folks can say what they want, and even those that's on that side that's being so blindsided because they want power and everything, they don't understand. Anytime you try to remove history, uh, you're already messing up. It was be the same as if we started trying to take chapters and books out of the Bible just so that it will work for me. The devil is a lie. So, we have to be careful about how we just look at life as a whole. And going back to what you're saying, and I'll give it back to you.
I don't
Going
need it back. It's 8 o'clock and I gotta go.
Okay, well, I appreciate you. Thank you for that. I'll finish it up. But we've got to be so careful because those 3 seconds that you're talking about, whether it's 3, 5, 7, or even a minute, can be the difference in where you spend eternity, not just life on earth, but eternity. All because you allowed something, and this is what I tell people all the time, and I look at it from this standpoint. There's two ways I look at life: the things that I can control and the things that I can't. Well, the
Hmm.
things that I can control are in those first 3 seconds because I can control my anger. Yes, I can.
Hmm.
Yes, I can. I can control my anger. When you choose not to control it, that's on you. That ain't on nobody else. That's on you. But here's the other side of it. The things that I can't control, guess what? I have to turn it over to God. And when I turn it over to God, I got to leave it right there. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, all we have to do is take the initiative to do the right thing. And that's our problem. We choose or we think that we big and bad enough to do whatever we choose to do. And then all of a sudden, we stand before the judge. We stand before somebody that now is going to determine the outcome of the rest of your life. And so we got to be so careful. We got to be so careful. I like what he said today because it's food for thought. You know what I'm saying? How are you dealing with life? How are you dealing with the ups and downs of life? Have some of the decisions that you've made caused you to be in the fix that you're in right now? I see one of my brothers on here, Bishop Drummond, uh, and Bishop Drummond is a financial wizard. Bishop Drummond can help you get out of debt. But here's the whole key to that. If he helps you get out of debt, but you don't change your way of thinking, guess what? No sooner as he gets you out of debt, you're going to get right back in it because you haven't accomplished, you haven't taken the initiative to fix the issue. Getting out of debt is only one fragment of the situation, but you got to change your mindset. That's the same way with anything else that's going on in life with us. If you have anger issues or you have whatever issues, I'll just say issues because we have a tendency to put as some people say, some sins over others or characters over others. But if you have issues, period, it's time to address those. And I thank Brother G for coming on today and giving us, once again, giving us something to think about. And so as we go out the rest of this day, let's do a self-evaluation of ourselves. Let's really look at ourselves and stop passing the buck and realize that, hey, because God allowed me to be in his kingdom, which is today, the day that he created while you were asleep, or while you were doing whatever you was doing, he allowed you to be a part of it. Make sure that you do your part in making it good for everybody else. We love you. We thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us today. And I ask that you all have a phenomenal rest of the day. To my Kenya family, I love you. We're working diligent to get everything together. And y'all see, I will be blasting this commercial that my son Abram put together as we prepare to go to Kenya in October. Listen, I'll see you on Wednesday. Bishop, I'm getting ready to reach out to you because we got to see what we're gonna do. Are you gonna be able to come on this coming Friday? But to God be the glory. The rest of y'all have a phenomenal day, and always remember, on Wednesday, right before I do that, let me do this. On Wednesday, it's always our day of giving. And you all know that the funds that we raise, we are outreach ministry. We don't put no money in our pocket. We use it to support the ministry. And so with that being said, Kenya is our primary goal right now. Everything that we're doing to help our children over in Kenya. So you all, you know, nothing's too small. And for you all that can give that $1,000,000, go ahead and write it off. You need to be able to write it off on your taxes anyway. But to God be the glory, and we're out of here.
My name is David. I am 10 years old. Thank you, Bishop David, for food and school fees. My name is Delphine. I am 10 years old. Thank you, Bishop David, for school fees and for food. School fees and food. Thank you.
Join Bishop Gregory Twilley and Phenomenal Outreach Ministries as we embark on a life-changing journey to Kenya, East Africa. For 9 powerful days, October 13th through the 21st, we will pour into pastors, tour a local school, and build lasting fellowship and community. This is more than a trip. It's a divine assignment. Do you feel the call to be a part of something greater? Now is your chance. For more information or to get involved, email phenomenaloutreach07@gmail.com today.